Pei Xiu's personal maid was kidnapped. To save her own life, she exposed my location. My child was reduced to a pool of blood, yet she, under Pei Xiu's protection, successfully rose in status. I didn't cry or make a scene. I displayed the magnanimity of a matriarch, helping him take in numerous concubines. After Pei Xiu's third concubine also gave birth, he ran to question me. "Lily, are you still holding a grudge against me?" I shook my head, a little puzzled. "I've taken so many mistresses, why aren't you jealous at all?" I sneered. From the day my child died, Pei Xiu had become nothing more than a tool for me to accumulate enough points to leave this world. When the chime of the system reactivating sounded, my hand trembled, and tea spilled onto my sleeve. But I felt nothing, holding my breath as I called out in my mind, "System." A familiar electronic voice responded, something that should not exist in this era, a testament to the path I had come from. "It's me," the system said. "It's been 10 years, I'm glad to see you're still well. Now that you've accumulated enough points again, do you still want to return to your original world?" Suppressing my joy, I took a deep breath. "Of course I do. Give me 3 days. I'll arrange things for the people around me and then I'll leave." Putting down the teacup, I summoned Su Ning, who had served me faithfully and never left my side. She thought I had some task for her, but instead, she saw me holding a box and pressing it into her hands. Inside were several banknotes, my savings from over the years. I gestured for her to open it. Seeing the contents, Su Ning's eyes widened in astonishment. "So much money, my lady. Is there something you wish to buy?" I smiled. "It's your dowry." 2 years prior, I had helped Su Ning gain her freedom from servitude, but she refused to leave, staying by my side. I didn't want to hold her back, and after discovering she had a sweetheart, I took it upon myself to arrange their marriage. These 3 days were just enough time for me to see Su Ning married off. After that, I would have no more worries. Hearing it was a dowry, Su Ning quickly tried to push it back to me. "My lady, you've been good enough to me. I can't accept anything more from you. Take it, it's no use to me anyway." I patted her hand, a smile playing on my lips. "Ah Ning, I'm going home." Su Ning froze. Seeing the relaxed smile on my face, when she hadn't seen in a long time, her eyes suddenly reddened. "Is it? The home my lady has always longed for." "That's right. Ah Ning, in these last few days, let me watch you get married with my own eyes." I pulled the weeping girl into my arms to comfort her, but an inopportune voice sounded from outside the door. It was Ningmo, Pei Xiu's personal attendant. He peeked in. "My lady, Concubine Song has just given birth to a daughter. The Marquis has sent me to summon you for lunch at Xiaoxian Courtyard." Su Ning's tears stopped. I patted her shoulder and said, "I understand. I'll be there shortly." "My lady?" Su Ning looked at me with concern. I shook my head at her and turned to leave for Xiaoxian Courtyard. Through the open gates, I could see Pei Xiu, a smile on his lips, cooing at the swaddled baby in his arms. His face was full of fatherly love, showing little of the ferocity he once had on the battlefield. I suddenly remembered when I was pregnant, he was just like this, as happy as a young boy, gently resting his head on my barely showing belly. "Lily, the baby kicked me." Pei Xiu's expression was one of delighted surprise, the joy of a first-time father. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, tapping his forehead. "It's only been 3 months. How could it possibly kick anyone?" Pei Xiu laughed, "But I can feel it. It's calling for its daddy." "Lily, what should we name the child? If it's a girl, let's call her Ruixu. If it's a boy, how about Chang'an?" Ruixu, Chang'an, both names carried beautiful meanings. It was just a pity my child was ill-fated and never got to use either of them. After I became pregnant, I stepped down from my position as a military doctor and stayed in a small border town to rest. Because of this, I had no idea that Pei Xiu had picked up an orphan girl on the battlefield. The girl's name was Mu Yingying. Her parents were dead, and she was frail and helpless. She insisted on staying by Pei Xiu's side as his personal maid, and as she stayed close, the two of them ended up in the same bed. When I was 8 months pregnant, Mu Yingying also became pregnant. Pei Xiu couldn't bring himself to get rid of the child and kept it a secret from me. But the truth will always come out. Sensing that Pei Xiu intended for her to abort the child, Mu Yingying secretly fled the military camp, planning to return after giving birth. But she was ambushed by enemy soldiers on the road. Captured and terrified, she revealed my location to the enemy. Shen Qianli is General Pei's wife. Capturing me is useless. Only she can be used to threaten General Pei. "I know where she is. I heard the general mention it. I can take you there. Please let me go, I'm innocent." To save her own life, Mu Yingying told them everything she knew. Enemy troops swarmed the small town. I was captured and tortured in the chaos, and my child was brutally miscarried. It was a fully formed fetus, bloody and gruesome. The pain was worse than death. When Pei Ziu came to take me back, I recognized Mu Yingying by his side and lunged for her throat. "It was you. Why are you here? If you hadn't led the enemy into the city, the townspeople wouldn't have died, and my child wouldn't have died." I wanted to kill Mu Yingying, but as I squeezed, Pei Ziu twisted my wrist away. "Stop it, Lily. Yingying didn't do it on purpose." Pei Ziu stood in front of me. I snapped my head up, feeling for the first time that he was a complete stranger. "Does not on purpose. Absolve her of all those lives." I stared at Pei Ziu in disbelief, but he had me locked up. He said I was in shock and spouting nonsense. The deaths of the townspeople had nothing to do with Mu Yingying. The enemy was just too cunning. It was all an accident. As for the child, we can have another. After dealing with any information that was unfavorable to Mu Yingying, Pei Ziu held me and cooed softly. I slapped him across the face, pointing at him and screaming, "Pei Ziu, you're disgusting. When did you become so cold-blooded, abandoning your conscience for a woman like Mu Yingying?" He met my gaze, full of loathing. After a moment of shock, he suddenly grew impatient. "Then what do you want? For me to kill Yingying? She's carrying my child. I can't let her be harmed." "Lily, you're a doctor. A healer's heart is benevolent. Why can't you let her go? She's lonely and helpless just like you were. She made a mistake because she had no choice. Why can't you forgive her?" Pei Ziu tried to persuade me, but I was overcome with rage and had no desire to listen to his excuses. I grabbed the hairpin I carried and stabbed it into his chest. He was caught off guard. Staring at the hairpin, his eyes reddened. "Lily, you want to kill me." I had been with him since I was 15, through life and death for many years. Across deserts and dangerous cliffs, I had pulled him back from the brink of death countless times. He never imagined I would actually raise a hand against him. Even the system didn't react in time. It wasn't until Pei Ziu pushed me away that the delayed electric shock punishment coursed through my body. "Assassination of the target is prohibited. Shen Qianli, you have violated the rules." The system's cold voice sounded. I bit my lip, swallowing my pained whimpers, and clutched the blood-stained hairpin tightly. "I regret it, system. I shouldn't have used all my points for Pei Ziu. Can I still go home?" I had little hope when I asked, but the system gave me an unexpected answer. "Yes, your mission progress is complete. You just lack the points. Continue to engage with Pei Ziu or perform good deeds, and you can slowly accumulate them again. When the time comes, I will reappear." After saying this, the system suddenly vanished. Pei Ziu stared at me, collapsed on the floor, his voice as cold as ice. "Shen Qianli, you will stay here and reflect on what you've done." From then on, Pei Ziu began to openly favor Mu Yingying. He not only gave her official status, but also had his subordinates address her as the general's wife. I had no energy to argue with him. Once released from confinement, I set up a stall in the city, providing free medicinal soups to soothe the pain of injured civilians and soldiers. My points, which had dropped to 0, began to slowly increase. Just as I thought I saw a glimmer of hope, Pei Ziu sent men to smash my stall. It was because Mu Yingying was unhappy. She believed I was trying to win people's hearts, that those who received my kindness looked at her with disgust. She couldn't stand it and cried to Pei Ziu. So Pei Ziu sent men disguised as thugs to steal my medicinal soup every time I was about to set up my stall. They would replace it with a sign bearing Mu Yingying's name, claiming she had prepared it. I was so angry I laughed. I stormed into the military camp and in front of everyone exposed his scheme. A great general trying to please his little concubine by stealing from his legal wife. Have you no shame? Do you think everyone is a fool and can't tell that I'm the one who brewed it? Pei Ziu's face changed. He punished me with 20 strokes from the military rod for trespassing in the barracks and placed me under strict supervision again. I didn't regain my freedom until the border war ended. No, the place of my confinement simply changed to the Marquis' manor. Upon returning to the capital, Pei Ziu was ennobled by the emperor as the Marquis of Jiaxin for his military achievements and was granted a large mansion. He secured an imperial title for me, a hint of nervousness in his eyes. "Lily, it's been so long. Your anger should have subsided by now, right?" I stared at him, a smile touching my lips, and for the first time I nodded. The year of confinement had made me understand that the only way to truly leave this place was to accumulate enough points. Therefore, I could no longer afford to be angry with Pei Ziu. I had to obey him, make him think I had resigned myself to my fate. I took a step forward, tears welling in my eyes. "My lord, Kyanli will be sure to listen to you from now on." Shock and joy flashed in Pei Xiu's eyes as he pulled me into his embrace. "Lily, it's good that you've come to your senses." To test me, he brought Mu Yingying before me. While I was confined, Mu Yingying had successfully given birth to Pei Xiu's eldest son. She had thought she could use this to usurp my position, but to her surprise, Pei Xiu refused to divorce me. To this day, she was still just a concubine. "Sister." Mu Yingying, holding her son, curtsied reluctantly, jealousy flashing in her eyes. As if I didn't notice, I took her hand and helped her up with a warm smile. "There's no need for such formalities, sister." Seeing that I showed no displeasure, Pei Xiu breathed a sigh of relief. He chuckled. "Today is a good day. Have the kitchen prepare a feast. The three of us will have a nice meal together." I watched the points in my mind slowly increase, a smile on my face, but my heart was as hard as stone. From that day forward, Pei Xiu was merely a tool for me to gain points. I would never have a shred of affection for him again. Didn't he like having multiple wives and concubines? Fine, I would find them for him. I collected portraits of any woman who was interested in entering the manor and had decent looks, and presented them to Pei Xiu. He frowned in confusion. "Lily, what is the meaning of this?" I replied gently, "My body has been weak ever since the miscarriage, and I fear I may have trouble conceiving. Having only concubine Mu in the manor is not enough. Perhaps my lord could choose a few more concubines. I will treat them all as my own sisters." Pei Xiu was incredulous. "What did you say?" I was about to repeat myself when he suddenly tore all the portraits to shreds. "Enough," Pei Xiu said coldly. "I don't need more concubines." Despite his words, in the 3rd year, he couldn't resist taking a new woman into the manor. The day we met her, Su Ning couldn't help but whisper, "My lady, the new concubine's smile looks just like yours." I stared at the woman's face, as if seeing a shadow of my past self, and sneered inwardly. Pei Xiu watched my expression, as if searching for a trace of anger. But I simply drank the tea the new concubine offered me with composure and spoke amiably. "From now on, we are all sisters." Song Weru was flattered and obediently called me Madam. Pei Xiu's face darkened, and he left with a flick of his sleeve without a word. No new women were brought into the manor after that. Pei Xiu doted on Song Weru even more than Mu Yingying, but with me, his legal wife, he became increasingly polite and distant. Sensing my arrival, the smile on his lips faded slightly. "The madam is here, have a seat." I sat down opposite him, and across the table, I offered my congratulations. "I hear concubine Song has safely delivered a daughter. My congratulations to you, my lord." Pei Xiu paused, his deep voice tinged with suppressed emotion. "You should be congratulated. By the way, look, doesn't she look familiar?" He held the infant out for me to see, as if deliberately trying to provoke me. "Wiru resembles you. If our child had lived, perhaps she would have looked like this." I glanced at the baby and said flatly, "Back then, that child came out of my body a mangled mess of flesh and blood. I couldn't quite see what it looked like." Hearing this, Pei Xiu froze. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes. He pressed his lips together, his gaze deep and dark. "Are you still blaming me?" "How could I? I am merely lamenting my own misfortune." My expression was calm as I let out a soft sigh. Pei Xiu raised an eyebrow, trying to find some other emotion on my face. But after so many years, I was no longer the Shen Kyanli who would scream and shout. His Adam's apple bobbed. He said hoarsely, "It's good that you can think this way. I wonder when the madam will be able to bear this marquis a legitimate son? This grand manor still has no heir. It's a laughingstock." I recognized his attempt to test me but remained unmoved. "Isn't there concubine Mu? Why not make her child the heir? It would fulfill your long-held wish." Pei Xiu refused without a second thought. "No. Although Yunan is the eldest son, his mother is merely a concubine of low status. How could he be worthy of being the heir to this manor?" A few years ago, Pei Xiu would never have spoken so disparagingly of that mother and son. It seemed that with time, his passion for her had soured. I went along with his words. "Then let's not name an heir. We can wait until there is a legitimate son." Pei Xiu was stunned. "You agree?" He thought I had finally let go of the past and was willing to have a child with him. But I was leaving in 3 days. After this body died, another woman would naturally take my place as the matriarch of the manor and give him the heir he desired. "Kyanli, if you had been like this sooner, we wouldn't have had to wait so long." Pei Xiu's tone softened considerably. He placed a piece of my favorite dish in my bowl. I know you've always been hung up on the child we lost, but one must always look forward. Aren't you living well now? He always seemed to say things that enraged me, ignoring my pain and struggle, poking at my deepest wound. A flash of sarcasm crossed my eyes. I stood up. I'm going to see Concubine Song. Seeing that I wouldn't engage, Pei Xiu's face darkened. He looked at the infant in his arms and said casually, "Let's name this child Ruixu. Since you have no intention of having a child now, why not give this name to her? What do you think?" I didn't stop walking. As you wish. After leaving Xiaoxian courtyard, I went to Song Wiru's residence. She was awake, her eyes red when she saw me, looking as if she had something difficult to say. My lady, concubine Mu, was just here. Mu Yingying had never gotten along with Song Wiru. Seeing that Song Wiru had given birth to a daughter, she must have come to gloat. Sure enough, Song Wiru cried. She called me a worthless money loser for giving birth to a little money loser. She also said that once Yunan inherits the manor, there will be no place for me and my daughter here. Just listen to her, a mere concubine, already so brazenly coveting the heir's position. She has no respect for you as the matriarch. As Song Wiru spoke, she watched my expression. Seeing that I remained calm, she grew anxious and tugged at my sleeve. You are the matriarch. Are you just going to watch her walk all over you? I pulled my sleeve away. You are both more favored than I am. Pleading with me is useless. You should plead with the Marquis. I can't help you. But, Song Wiru bit her lip, as if having made a great resolution, and said with a look of humiliation, "But you are the one the Marquis truly holds in his heart. Every time the Marquis is intimate with me, he calls out your name by mistake." Silence. My expression changed abruptly and I cut her off. That proves nothing. Pei Xiu had cheated on me when the mission progress was at 100%. What could calling out the wrong name possibly mean? I turned and left with a cold face, spending the next 2 days busy with Su Ning's wedding. 2 days later, a bridal sedan chair carried her away, and the last weight in my heart was lifted. Looking at the now empty room, I summoned the system. "System, I'm ready. Take me home." The moment I finished speaking, all my points were cleared to 0. The system's voice sounded. "The portal will open at midnight tonight. Your body in this world will die completely. I will ask you one last time, are you sure you have no regrets?" No regrets. I had waited for this day for too long. So long that even these last few hours felt like an eternity. The system said, "Aren't you going to see Pei Xiu one last time?" It knew better than anyone how much I had given for Pei Xiu over the years. It probably thought that, at the very end, I would at least say goodbye to him. But I just looked out the window. The pear tree in the courtyard rustled in the wind, its blossoms scattering from the branches. There's no need. A true departure is a silent one. I refused to see Pei Xiu, but trouble came looking for me. Several attendants seized me, giving me no room to refuse, and forcibly dragged me to Xiaoxian courtyard. In the courtyard, Song Wiru, who had just given birth, was kneeling and sobbing, while Mu Yingying, her eyes red, slapped her to the ground. "You slut! If anything happens to my Yunan, I will never let you go." I frowned, catching a flicker of panic in Song Wiru's eyes. Pei Xiu sat in a chair, his face as grim as water. Before I could understand what was happening, I heard a sigh from inside the room. An imperial physician emerged and shook his head at Pei Xiu. "My lord Marquis, the young master has been deeply poisoned. This old servant is powerless to save him." At these words, Mu Yingying burst into tears and rushed into the room. Song Wiru's face turned pale, and she trembled as she begged for mercy. "My lord, it wasn't me. I didn't poison the young master." Pei Xiu's face was expressionless. "The kitchen maid has already identified you. You still dare to deny it." A woman covered in blood was dragged forward like a dead pig. Song Wiru was so frightened she fainted on the spot. But with the imperial physician present, a single needle jabbed her awake. With no escape, Song Wiru shuddered and pointed a finger at me, crying and sniffling. It was the madam. The madam ordered me to poison young Master Yunan, saying she wanted revenge on concubine Mu. I only listened to her because I had no choice. Otherwise, she would have taken revenge on my newborn daughter. Song Wiru implicated me, her expression as innocent and pure as a little rabbit's. "My lord, you know that Wiru is weak-willed. If the madam hadn't threatened me, how would I dare to do such a thing?" Hearing this, Mu Yingying rushed out of the room. She glared at me, her teeth gritted, her eyes filled with hatred. "I knew it. Shen Qianli, you were jealous that I gave birth to the Marquis's eldest son, jealous that I was more favored than you, so you poisoned my son to death. You venomous woman, I want you to pay for my son's life with your own." Her sharp nails clawed at my face. I grabbed her wrist and looked at the cold-faced Pei Ziu. "I didn't do it," I said flatly. "If I wanted to kill Pei Yunan, I would never have let you find out so easily." Pei Ziu laughed, a cold, angry sound. "Yes, your medical skills are superb. Back in the army, you could concoct all sorts of drugs. But why would you harm Yunan? He's just a child. Even if you're dissatisfied with me, with Yingying, you shouldn't have been so vicious as to murder an innocent child." Hearing Pei Ziu's accusation, I suddenly wanted to laugh. "I'm vicious. Mu Yingying, who led the enemy into the city, causing the deaths of innocent people and my child, isn't vicious. The Marquis Pei, who for his own selfish reasons covered up the truth of the massacre to protect a murderer, isn't vicious. Concubine Song, who just out of her confinement schemed to eliminate other bloodlines and frame me, isn't vicious. But I, a woman who has saved countless lives and stood by you from obscurity to prominence, am to be called vicious." What a joke. A sarcastic smile played on my lips as my gaze swept over the people in the courtyard. They looked away, either surprised or guilty, not daring to meet my eyes. Except for Pei Ziu. He never thought he was wrong. Even with his past exposed, he remained calm and composed as he ordered, "Shen Qianli, do not speak nonsense. Men, escort the madam to the ancestral hall. After she has knelt there for 3 days and 3 nights, we'll see if she can still be so stubborn." Night fell. The desolate moonlight streamed through the window lattice, falling on the dark memorial tablets. With a clear conscience, I met their silent gazes, waiting for midnight to arrive. Just as the final moment approached, the door to the ancestral hall was suddenly thrown open. Mu Yingying entered with 4 servants, her expression vicious. Kneeling in the ancestral hall is hardly a punishment. According to custom, family law should be applied. Hold her down. Don't stop until she's been whipped 100 times. At this final hour, how could I let her bully me? I pulled a silver needle from my sleeve and jabbed it into the pressure points of the servants who rushed at me. They instantly lost their strength. Mu Yingying, like a madwoman, lunged at me. I grabbed her hair and dragged her with me into the lake outside. The icy water filled my nose. Watching Mu Yingying struggle, I smiled faintly. "You brought this on yourself. It's perfect. I wanted you to pay for my child's life anyway." I pushed her head down again and again. Her expression was one of agony, and she soon lost consciousness. Just then, Pei Ziu arrived with his men. Midnight had come. My body instantly lost all its strength. I let go, sinking to the bottom of the lake. Pei Ziu jumped into the water, pulled the unconscious Mu Yingying to the surface, his hand brushing past my lifeless fingertips. It was too dark. Perhaps he didn't see me, or perhaps he did but didn't want to bother. My soul left my body and floated above the lake, watching Pei Ziu's retreating figure. No one noticed my body sinking to the bottom, carrying the chill of the night, silent, as if asleep. Everyone in the manor was busy. Doctors gathered around Mu Yingying, checking her pulse and administering needles. Pei Ziu rubbed his temples in frustration. When the servants who had followed Mu Yingying to the ancestral hall returned, he demanded coldly, "Where is Shen Qianli?" She pushed Yingying into the lake and then disappeared. "Bring her here and make her kneel outside the door to apologize to Yingying." The servants were stunned. One of them stammered. The madam and concubine Mu jumped into the lake together. Didn't the Marquis see her? Pei Ziu froze. The color drained from his face, leaving it terrifyingly pale. "What did you say?" Seeing his expression, the servant was frightened. "My lord." But Pei Ziu seemed to hear nothing. He ignored everyone and ran to the lakeside, staring at the calm water and muttering, "No, it can't be." A splash echoed in the dark water. An attendant holding a lantern called for him to come out, but Pei Ziu paid no heed. He dived repeatedly to the bottom of the lake, until he finally grasped my cold hand. In that moment, the blood in Pei Ziu's veins turned to ice. He surfaced with my body in his arms, looking at my closed eyes, his voice trembling. "Qianli, Lily, wake up. Don't sleep, I don't blame you anymore. Lily, open your eyes and look at me, please." Pei Ziu's eyes were red. He carried my body ashore, screaming for the doctors. My soul passed by him. I clearly saw the look of devastation on his face, but I felt no satisfaction. So this was what it felt like to have a heart of dead ashes. Even seeing Pei Ziu's regret, I felt not a single ripple of emotion. The front courtyard was brightly lit. Numerous doctors looked at the cold body on the bed, helpless. "My lord, the madam is all ready." "Silence, I don't care what methods you use, you must save her. She's only sleeping. Don't let me hear you curse my wife again." Pei Ziu's expression was fierce. He wouldn't listen to reason, gently wiping the face of the corpse. The doctors exchanged glances and stood silently in the courtyard. Pei Ziu held the body, trying to warm it, but the bone-deep chill only grew colder, seeping into his own organs. He remembered a year of heavy snow on the border. It was just as cold. He was just a common soldier then, his legs and feet white with frostbite. It was Shen Qianli who had taken apart her only cotton-padded coat to sew him cotton trousers and socks. When he put them on, Pei Ziu felt as if he were walking on clouds, soft, snug, and warm. It was a feeling he had never experienced before, as if he were being cherished in someone's heart. Even the blizzard seemed to lessen. "Miss Shen, thank you." The 16-year-old Pei Ziu was still a bit shy, clutching his spear tightly, stealing glances at Shen Qianli. And Shen Qianli, as if noticing his gaze, gave a faint smile, as bright as 1,000 pear blossoms blooming at once. Pei Ziu was mesmerized, his heart pounding like a drum. The snow-covered landscape seemed to transform into a spring day of pear blossoms, leaving him dizzy, experiencing for the first time what it meant for 1,000 trees, 10,000 trees of pear blossoms to open. He couldn't suppress the fluttering in his heart. In every battle, her image was in his mind. With Shen Qianli around, getting injured didn't seem so frightening. He loved watching her dress his wounds, so serious, yet with a tenderness that no one else showed. Pei Ziu thought he was being foolish. But if Shen Qianli was by his side, he wouldn't mind being a fool for a lifetime. When did his heart change? When did his gaze stop following her? And when did her heart die completely, so that she would never again feel for him? Lost in his memories, Pei Ziu didn't realize tears were falling. He rested his head on Shen Qianli's pale hand, a sob escaping his throat. "I'm sorry I was wrong. I shouldn't have been soft on Mu Yingying and done things that hurt you. And I shouldn't have taken Song Wiru as a concubine just to make you jealous. All these years, I deliberately gave you the cold shoulder, just wanting you to yield. I wanted you to smile at me sincerely again, like you used to." Only then did Pei Ziu realize how terribly wrong he had been. He had been waiting for Shen Qianli to yield, but he was the one who had betrayed her first. He thought the manor had become a cage for Shen Qianli, that they had a lifetime to wait for the other to compromise. But fate was like a fleeting pear blossom, withering in the long night at the cusp of summer. It all happened too suddenly, catching him off guard, leaving no room for redemption. Pei Ziu was consumed by self-blame, but Mu Yingying, who had just woken up, didn't notice the atmosphere in the room and began crying and complaining to him. "My lord, I saw the madam kneeling alone in the ancestral hall and felt sorry for her, so I went to visit her. But she pushed me into the lake. If you hadn't arrived in time, I would have been killed by her." Mu Yingying sobbed, her gaze falling on Shen Qianli's body, a venomous glint in her eyes. A harmful creature like her doesn't deserve to be in the Pei family's ancestral hall. "My lord, why not remove her from the family registry, throw her into a mass grave, and grind her bones to dust to appease Yunan's spirit in heaven?" As she spoke, she called for men to come and drag the body away. Pei Ziu could bear it no longer. He slapped her across the face, the veins on his forehead throbbing. "Stop, Shen Qianli was my, Pei Ziu's, wife in life, and she will be a ghost of my Pei family in death. Who gave you permission to touch her?" Mu Yingying was stunned by the slap. Her lips trembled as she covered her face in disbelief. "My lord, even now, you're still protecting this bitch." "Shut up, who allowed you to call her that? Mu Yingying, have I been too lenient with you?" Pei Ziu coldly threw her to the ground, looking down at her. "You say you went to visit Lily out of kindness. Do you take me for a fool? Would you really be so kind?" Mu Yingying froze, not understanding why Pei Ziu would suddenly doubt her. As she was thinking of an explanation, the servants, unable to bear the punishment, confessed everything. It was concubine Mu who wanted to use family law on the madam privately, saying she wouldn't stop until she had been whipped 100 times. The madam then pulled concubine Mu into the lake. It was all because concubine Mu forced her. "We were just following concubine Mu's orders. Please spare us, my lord." The servants kowtowed until their foreheads were bleeding. Mu Yingying's heart sank. She explained palely, I just wanted to avenge Yunan." "Avenge?" Pei Ziu sneered, grabbing her chin. "What right do you have to seek revenge? Not to mention the matter hasn't been fully investigated, and Lily never admitted to coercing Song Wiru. Even if Lily did do it, what right do you have to punish her? Don't forget, her child was already 8 months along. If it weren't for you, how would she have miscarried?" Hearing him bring up the past, Mu Yingying finally began to feel afraid. She knelt before Pei Ziu, tugging at his clothes and begging for mercy. Yes, I was wrong. I shouldn't have used family law privately, but I hadn't even had a chance to punish her before she pulled me into the lake with her. I'm a victim too. Mu Yingying raised her tear-streaked face, thinking Pei Ziu would pity her as he always had, but he kicked her away, his eyes bloodshot and terrifying. Get out. Mu Yingying scrambled away. Pei Ziu locked himself in the room with Shen Qianli's body, refusing to eat or drink. Finally, his trusted subordinate uncovered the truth. The so-called poisoning was entirely Song Wiru's doing. When her plot was exposed, she framed Shen Qianli, leading to her being locked in the ancestral hall and ultimately drowning. Pei Ziu wanted to kill her, but felt that simply killing her was too easy. He locked her and Mu Yingying in the same room, letting them fight each other until only one survived. In the end, Mu Yingying was pushed against a wall by the seemingly frail Song Wiru and died on impact. Song Wiru excitedly pounded on the door, demanding to be let out. But Pei Ziu had only said one of them could live. He had never said he would let her go. She was locked up with Mu Yingying's corpse and died of depression. Her daughter was sent out of the manor by Pei Ziu and raised by an ordinary family. The manor became desolate, with its inhabitants either dead or gone. Pei Ziu gave Shen Qianli a grand burial. His temperament became even colder than before, but surprisingly, he showed no signs of decline. He always felt that Shen Qianli was still alive, a suspicion that was confirmed in the 5th year when Su Ning returned to the capital to pay respects at her grave. In the present world, a month had passed since I woke up. The doctor said my surgery was a success and that I would recover with proper care. I thanked him and returned to my home. Opening the door, my rented apartment was just as I had left it, filled with a warm atmosphere. I turned on my phone, told my parents I was safe, found a new job, and prepared for an interview. No one knew that just a month ago, I was critically ill, on the verge of dying on the operating table. That was when the system found me, offering to restore my health in exchange for me completing a mission with Pei Ziu. Naturally, I agreed without hesitation. Although there were many twists and turns, the final outcome was good. I quickly put that world behind me and focused on my real life. I never expected the system to contact me again. This time, its calm voice held a hint of embarrassment. Shen Qianli, Pei Ziu knows you're a mission taker. He's demanding to see you. I really have no choice, so. I refused. I'm not going. The system sounded uncharacteristically guilty. Just one meeting, and then I'll bring you back. As for compensation, how about 3 million? Your former maid, Su Ning, also misses you very much. 2 years ago, she accidentally let it slip while paying respects at your grave, which is how Pei Ziu found out. Even if it's for her sake, you should go back. Weren't you two very close? After much persuasion from the system, I finally agreed. However, 7 years had passed in that timeline. Pei Ziu, who was once the Marquis of Jiexin, was now the new emperor. After ascending the throne, he had searched everywhere for the system, spending vast amounts of manpower and resources, causing widespread discontent among the people. When I appeared, Pei Ziu's gloomy eyes instantly lit up. Lily, you really are alive. My appearance was the same as before, only my clothes were different. Seeing Pei Ziu like this, I curled my lips in a sarcastic smile. If you have something to say it now. I'm busy. Pei Ziu's eyes darkened. He took my hand. Lily, are you still angry with me? I've already punished Mu Yingying and Song Wiru. Can you forgive me? He spoke humbly, not at all like an emperor, a pitiful look on his face. I couldn't help but scoff and shook his hand off. Forgiveness is unnecessary. If the system hadn't stopped me, I would have found a way to poison you long ago. Pei Ziu was stunned, his fingertips trembling. You hate me that much. What else? Lily, I truly know I was wrong. After you died, I always dreamed of you. You used to love me so much, but I didn't cherish it. Give me a chance to make it up to you. I'm the emperor now. I can give you anything you want. As Pei Ziu spoke, he leaned in to kiss me. I pushed him away with a look of disgust. I want freedom. You can't give me that. In my mind, I called out to the system. It's time to go. The system said, wait a little longer. Pei Ziu seemed to be able to hear us. He grabbed my arm, a sinister glint in his eyes. Lily, where are you trying to go? I frowned, feeling his tight grip, and softened my tone. Nowhere. By the way, I'd like to see Su Ning. Is that possible? Hearing that I no longer mentioned leaving, a smile appeared on his face. Of course. He specially summoned Su Ning to the palace to see me. After 7 years, Su Ning had matured a lot. She threw herself into my arms and cried her heart out, then stammered an apology. I didn't blame her. As I helped her up, I called out to the system, "When can I leave?" The system said, "A few more days. I promise to send you back safely." "Fine, you'd better keep your word. Otherwise, I'd rather die with Peizu." For the next few days, I didn't call the system again, suspecting that Peizu had made some deal with it, allowing him to hear our conversations. In the Phoenix Palace, a maid unfolded a newly made ceremonial robe. I remained non-committal, silently waiting for the moment I could leave. On the day of the enthronement ceremony, the system suddenly said it was time to go. In front of Peizu, my body gradually became transparent. He roared and lunged at me, but passed right through me. "System, system." Peizu screamed like a madman, but the system in my mind remained silent. It wasn't until I returned to the present world, just as it was about to leave, that I couldn't help but ask, "You stopped me from killing Peizu before because he was my mission target. But I don't understand, why doesn't he have to be punished?" The system was silent for a moment, then a photo flashed through my mind. I was stunned. I saw Peizu, covered in blood, being impaled on the dragon throne by the spears of numerous soldiers. His desperate and resentful eyes seemed to carry a tangible malice, chilling and grim. The system's voice had a strange new emotion in it. Every gift bestowed by fate has its price secretly marked. Across many worlds, systems like me seek out those who are blessed with great fortune but die prematurely. We help them reach the pinnacle in exchange for their fortune. For Peizu to go from a general to an emperor was something even I didn't expect. I have you to thank for that, Shen Qianli. If you hadn't made him fall in love with you, Peizu would never have ascended to that supreme position in his search for you. However, he was not fated to be an emperor. Rebel armies have already risen among the people. In less than 2 years, the new dynasty will be overthrown. You have seen his end. A man who has lost all his fortune, dying a miserable death on a cold dragon throne. The system rarely spoke so much. Listening to its explanation, I felt something was off. If that's the case, why didn't you help him personally instead of having me complete a mission with him? What was the benefit of taking such a roundabout way? I was puzzled, but in the next moment, a chill ran down my spine. The system chuckled softly and said, "Because you were also one of my chosen ones. You were supposed to die on the operating table, but I helped you overcome that crisis. You don't have to worry about me taking all your fortune, because ours was a fair trade. With your rich medical experience from that world, you'll probably make a name for yourself in the field of traditional medicine very soon. Congratulations in advance." The system disappeared with a laugh, and my phone chimed with a notification of a bank transfer. It had added another 7 million to the promised 3 million, for a total of 10 million. It seemed that the Peizu contract had been incredibly profitable for it. I calmed myself and opened the door to my home. Life had to go on. As for fortune, instead of dwelling on that, it was better to believe in my own efforts.